The Westfield Leader advertised on January 5th, 2017, notification of Central Star Ledger, and probably posted on municipal public bulletin board and filed in the office of the municipal clerk. Informs the public of the time, place, according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PTL 1975. Good evening, everyone, and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor.
Mr. Abraham, you have something for us?
No, nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Sarah, you want?
No report, Mayor.
Any unfinished business, council, this evening? A couple of small items. I would like to recap and update some events mentioned on the last council meeting. As announced, the Liquid Church of Garwood has proclaimed October 29th through November 4th as Fall Love Week. On their behalf, I am accepting small exterior projects from seniors and veterans. Please contact me via the garwood.org email on my home address or directly with the Liquid Church. The Union County Mayor's meeting has been changed to Wednesday, August the 16th, again at 8 a.m. Council President Tedesco and myself will be attending that on behalf of the borough. I would first like to thank all the members of the Joint Committee of the Council and the Planning Board. As stated, the purpose of this committee is to further the lines of communication on current redevelopment and development projects. This committee has held its first meeting. I have received positive feedback from both boards. Thank you. On a final note, Mayor's Saturday will be held on Saturday, August the 19th at 11 a.m. in Council Chambers. I have invited Councilman Joseph Sarno to join me. Please express your concerns or just come by and chat. Thank you. Any new business for the council this evening? Seeing none, comments or matters for discussion from members of the council? Councilman Wildenstein.
Thank you, Mayor. I have some news to report to the council regarding the senior focus plan we received recently in the spring. As you may recall, this grant was slated for infrastructure improvements to our seniors facility. And as they used the firehouse, and knowing it had been some time since the roof had been serviced, we determined to apply this grant to add a fresh layer of shingles onto the existing roof. So Ms. Ariema reached out for quotes on this fresh layer. However, each of the roofing companies stated that the condition of the existing roof was beyond any level of repair. We learned that the roof is already 3 layers deep, the max allowable for a roof of this type. And even these layers are well beyond their useful lives. So the quotes for a new roof are beyond the bid threshold. So we are currently looking into a company from one of the county co-ops we participate in. If that quote comes back comparatively too high, I think it's paramount that we go out for bid so that we can address this as soon as possible and in the most cost-effective manner.
What was the quote you got?
Ms. Ariema, do you mind? There was a couple of
A few vary different quotes. They vary from about 40,000 to 80,000.
How many square feet was the roof?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I have
It was from 40,000 to what?
about 80.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get another quote from another co-op on it. If it comes in as high as those, which I know it's not going to come in under 75, that would be unheard of, miracle. So most likely we're going to have to run the bid. Unless the quote comes in from this co-op and it's reasonable. Big difference between 40 and 80.
Oh, yeah.
So if it's about 40, then we're good. If it's not, then we'll have it. Maybe even if I get one, I call them today. We'll try real hard to do this. It's a very challenging.
Yeah, I want to thank Ms. Ariema. She really has been working on this, trying to get these quotes.
All three said that the roof was shot?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on. Councilman Kukrow. Councilman Lazaro.
Nothing for the mayor.
Councilman Petroselli.
Yeah, actually, I do have a couple of things. This has just been an idea of mine that maybe I shared with a couple of council people, but I know that we're getting some new, some new purchases as far as a garbage truck. I know that, the police department has, some new vehicles down their way over at the recycling center, and I just want to throw this out there. I mean, I know I'm not going to be on council, next year, but is it something that maybe we can look into, maybe possibly getting a new structure down at the recycling center and maybe selling the property on South Avenue. I mean, I know that we did have some, you know, ongoing contamination issues down at the South Avenue address, but I just think that with all these vehicles, you know, that we're purchasing, I think a lot of the vehicles rot from the bottom side up, because they're sitting on dirt, they're sitting on, you know, grass, and I don't think that's very good for us to have, you know, brand new trucks and brand new vehicles just sitting back there where, you know, we tend to hold on to things, you know, for a long period of time. And, I don't know, I just kind of want to put it out there that, you know, maybe we can do something, you know, some type of, you know, recyclable type, you know, material, or maybe it's built, you know, with bricks or something, but I just wanted to kind of put it out there that, you know, if we sold the property on South Avenue, maybe that would be enough money to build something over at the recycling center and have something that's big enough structure-wise, you know, to hold all of our stuff.
What's currently the South Avenue property used for?
And that's our DPW.
Oh,
That's our
it's not that.
DPW, right.
Oh, okay.
Would we sell it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to come up with an idea,
So we
because
sell that land, and where would we put the DPW?
you would put it at the recycling center.
Oh, okay, so build a whole new building back there, take it off the South End.
Right.
I mean, the governing body can do anything it wants, to declare lease, do so, it's all about dollars and cents. You know, there's no law
I
that
promise you, I'll put that on my hit
pass
list.
or anything.
Okay.
Do it.
And I know that, you know, Chief Underhill, you know, he was here, he was looking at tents that they could get from Army surplus. And, you know, the tent's a good thing to have as a temporary thing, but I just think that with the vehicles, you know, that we're purchasing, the vehicles that are sitting down there, as well as the Humvees and stuff, you know, it's really not good for those guys to just sit on dirt. Because, you know, from having vehicles myself, you know, anything that sits outside tends to rot away a little bit faster than, you know, something that's inside a building. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you, Councilman.
And I did have one other thing I wanted to bring up. I know we get our council packets all the time, and I've gotten them for now almost 9 years, but is there some way, because I see that Councilman Bloomstock, you know, has a tablet here. Is there some way that maybe we could all get tablets, you know, maybe next year, and then all of these pieces of paper, they could just be sent to us, and then we could actually have them in a tablet, and we can go through it, rather than, you know, have the police drop everything off all the time, you know, to each one of us. And, yeah, I just think it's a more efficient way, you know, to go forward. Just again, you know, just.
How do other towns do it out of curiosity?
I don't know.
A lot of
I
towns.
do know some have tablets.
Yeah,
and
they
that's
have a lot of
what
towns
everything-
supply their
everything's
everybody
on
with
the
tablets. The only thing I can say, you know, against dollars and cents, so you can buy whatever you want, there's no regulation or anything prohibiting that. It's just that on this end, in order to give you everything electronically, like I have to say, we went from 0 to like 90, like in the last several years, like we try to do as much as we can electronically, but there is still that component that not everything comes to us electronically, and we have to scan it all, and that's more time consuming actually than putting it on paper. But we are, like, I know, I went to a seminar once where the clerk had just an electronic agenda. So like, instead of it being on paper, it's electronic. So like, you see these communications here, she was able to link them, and then the council person could just click on them. And if, you know, like sitting here and you're saying, oh, what was that? And then they, you know, she was very IT. So she could, and she had a large staff and a lot more time. But she could scan everything and then link it. And I knew how to do it, but I never had time to do that. That's how she did her, like these come in electronically, so she would hook it on the agenda to, and everybody had a tablet, and all their agendas were electronic. I think it's something you really should look at, but I'm not saying it's something that I could do by myself.
But on the other hand, too, in my perspective, there's some things I would like to have a hard copy of, and the onus is on the person to print it out.
Right, exactly.
That's the, I do that now, but
Yeah, you
just
know,
another aspect.
you guys print everything and use your, you know, your own paper and stuff, you can take a ream of paper and
Yeah,
print it. But if you want it printed, like sometimes Eileen calls me up and asks me to print for her, I'll print for you. Just tell me, because I send everything to you electronically. We didn't used to do that, we used to get paper for everything. So now, you know, the mayor, their package used to be like this.
Quite well, thank you.
Well, I mean,
Now they're lucky because piece of
you know,
paper.
as far as like a money side, I mean, I know that the salaries are gone, so that's $10,000. I mean, I don't know how much these things cost.
Yeah, you can get them for $800.
Can we get a quote
Sure,
for 7 of them?
sure. I can get a quote.
Let's get a quote, so we analyze it. Why not?
Sure.
And the only other concern I have is with the sunshine laws. Do we have something, I know that.
You have to retain the documents, you know, same way you do now. You have to abide by laws, same way you do now.
But we can't be texting each other up here, obviously, from a phone perspective, but we can't do the same with
Or Miss
IM or
Area-
something, right?
Or Miss Area reminds us, don't reply all.
Yeah.
Right, well, it's along the
Right.
same lines, it's just
You
something
can
to
put
be cognizant of.
your email on there, you know, you have an outlook for just Garwood and then use it just for, you know, work Garwood and then not have to use your personal devices
Right.
at all. That would be ideal because then the device would retain everything. And when you turn yours up, you just give us the device and you've given us all the records.
Yeah.
And then you have no retention situation, which is, you know,
Yeah, I'd like to see a quote though, and,
I can get it.
You know,
You know, I need to know what you want on it though. You just want Word, right? Outlook, Microsoft Office, that's all you want.
bare bones,
But yeah,
basic.
cheapest.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we'll work that through the.
That way we have something to discuss. If it's something
Sure.
worthwhile, we can analyze it further in the finance committee, no?
Well, I was just about to say, in response to Councilman Pedrozelli's points, both of them, the Finance Committee is meeting tomorrow night to talk about capital purchases, so it's a great time. I know Councilman Pedrozelli and I have talked about these ideas before, but now we can formally vet them through committee and see how that measures up compared to the many other requests that are out there by the various departments and even things within the committee we've talked about in the past, such as road projects and so forth. So we have a lot to discuss tomorrow night. We'll keep that conversation going. And I'm more than happy to entertain a quote about tablets, but I guess I'm a little old-fashioned and a little cheap. But, so I'm a little hesitant, but I'm willing to entertain a quote.
I don't want you to buy a tablet that I can't on the other end give you electronic records because I can't, if I can, you know, make everything electronic. Obviously, I send you the agenda electronically, I don't print it anymore, so that is definitely something that I already do, but that's just a Word document, I just convert to PDF, it's not scanning. Scanning is not that easy, you gotta go scan it, and you gotta go find it, and then you gotta attach it, and it's not as easy as converting. But I couldn't do that link thing that other lady does, I couldn't do
I can do
it.
it though.
It's too time consuming, I couldn't do it.
I mean, I'm very cheap, so I would never approve the tablets, but that's me, and I'm old fashioned, I like seeing it print in front of me, which sometimes I have you print them and sometimes I
Then you're
print
gonna
them
have,
myself.
you gotta have one standard, you can't expect us to, you know, oh, this person needs printed, this person, you know.
Right,
that's-
correct.
Stamp, you know.
I mean, for me, I mean, it'd have to be all, you know, or not, I mean, because that would be way too confusing.
It's confusing.
I'm neutral on it, I just want to hear it. Let's get something out there, talk about it.
I'm definitely in favor of looking into the DPW. I mean, you spoke to me about that before, and I think that, you know, for purchasing really expensive new equipment, we should find ways to make them last longer. I think that's a much more practical, valuable thing for us to look into, so.
I mean, over on South Avenue, you know, we do have a structure there where there are some pieces in there. It's just that everything else, like all the overflow, just kind of sits outside.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room in there for many pieces.
Save money on repairs too, it's something to look into.
You know, not like it's gonna happen tomorrow, but I do know that there are contamination issues that are still down there. I know that's been going on forever, I just don't know how.
We did clear up our tank.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was-
Ours, we're good.
Okay, so if we tried to sell it, I mean, I'm just curious only because it's right on South Avenue, it's like prime real estate. You know, not to say that the DPW doesn't have to be there, but if we can get something bigger over by the recycling center and it can house everything, great. Just an idea.
To follow up, Catherine, is there anything we should know before going forward with investigating that when it comes to a public entity trying to sell a piece of property? I know we've done it in the past, some of the money that we got from selling properties over on the east side of the town by the rec complex went to actually pay for that in part, so is there anything we should know going forward? I mean, I think you just have to look in to see what you want to do. If that's what you want to do, then proceed down that path, but. Is there any step to take to see how much it would be worth?
I mean, I think your best bet would be to talk to your tax assessor.
Okay.
They have an idea of the fair market values in your municipality, and that would be where I would go, and that wouldn't cost you any money.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we got to analyze the tax basis of that property. We've been holding on to that since God knows when, right? When we first bought it, so that's low. What she's talking about is your fair market value is high. so
Right,
you're
your
gonna tax it.
Your assessments and fair market values are
But
different.
it's our own
We can
tax, so I don't know
certainly
how
do
that would work.
a
That's
report
why
on
we're
that.
exploring the situation.
Okay.
No problem.
Moving.
Of course.
Thanks.
That's really all I had, so.
Thank you. I think it's enough. Thank you. Councilman Sarno?
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I want to bring up in the joint committee, we discussed the fence ordinance that was brought up last meeting or 2 meetings ago, and it was about seeing if there would be a provision to see if there would be a setback of about a foot, if that would be revisited, and the council unanimously agreed not to move forward, to stick with the planning board's recommendation. So we will not be proceeding into that. The only recommendation we can give is that if there is going to be an issue with setback or what have you, you can always go and get a variance and go before the board.
Well, I don't understand. You mean the planning board turned it down?
No, the joint committee, which is the
The
joint committee that the mayor just mentioned, which is Sarah, Jen, myself, along with Steve Recapitolagio. Craig McCarrick was absent, but we voted 5-0.
So the
Not
subcommittee
moving forward.
overrode the council?
No, this was put to committee. We didn't overrule the council. The mayor
What seems
asked,
to be the
the mayor asked that the committee look into the issue, which we did, and then we decided not to move forward with it, and try to present the issue before the planning board or the council.
So you went against the taxpayers, basically,
No, I'm not saying one way or another against the taxpayers. What I'm telling you is that
property owners.
what we're telling you is that we're not going against the ordinance itself, so
Okay.
we're not moving forward.
That was opportunity. That committee was just generated right before that.
What was an opportunity, was it? Okay. Anything else, Mr. Councilman Sarno?
I got nothing else, thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Tedesco?
Thanks, Mayor. A couple items to follow up about the joint committee of the members of the planning board and council. We also met and discussed the planning board letter that had been sent to us dated June 7th, and the letter was distributed to the council yesterday by Ms. Ariema. Basically, in working together as a joint group, we kind of came up with the answers that we would all agree on to give a formal response back to the planning board because it's the right thing to do. And so as long as the council agrees, or at least the majority of the council agrees, I'd like to ask Ms. Ariema to forward that to the members of the planning board so that all of them can see the answers and not just the planning board chairman and vice chairman that were part of the meeting last week. So,
Do we have a consensus on that?
okay.
Ms. Ariema,
Yep.
please.
Thank you. And then the other item, Mayor, and I do want to say thank you to you for putting me on this committee. I think the joint committee will be very, very productive and also is a great way to ensure that the line of communication between our two boards is open. So I did want to mention the other item we had discussed. I brought forth to the joint meeting, and then I've taken some action since then. So the discussion was about having Russo hold a town hall meeting open to the public. That would be an informal meeting, but where he would outline essentially their progress so far on their end, the process moving forward, construction, and what that would look like in terms of timelines, in terms of ensuring that the contaminated area, which we know exists there, would be contained properly so that as to not impact the citizens of Garwood or anyone traveling through Garwood, and just get as many details out there as possible because obviously the public is very interested and it's a major project about to take place. And so I did speak to Chris Minks, who's the attorney for Russo Development, last week, and I followed up with him this afternoon, who spoke to the owner, Ed Russo, and they agreed to this informal town hall style meeting, open to the public, and they'll give us some prospective dates for the near future as they get dates for when their site plan will be heard by the planning board. So ideally, this informal town hall meeting would take place before those site plan meetings. And so basically, I just want to thank the members of the subcommittees of the planning board and council for supporting me on this, and I do look forward to getting a date set up in order to make sure that the public's involved and that they're updated on every aspect of this project.
Thank you. Just a reminder to the council, including myself, make sure all our reports are to Ms. Ariema tomorrow, hopefully, so she can have reports to you by tomorrow.
Yes,
Thank you.
very much.
Thank including myself. Okay, we'll move on then. Public comment. Anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council, please step to the microphone, state your full name and address. Please give your comments 3 minutes.
Jim Matthew, 335 Hazel Avenue. Mayor, I was running by the athletic field the other day, and I noticed a sign said that it was closed until further notice, the building. Do we have any update on that?
I have it updated in my building and grounds report.
Okay.
So,
All right, because I mean, it's had some question on, and this is all about a leaky door. Is that still what is going on now?
again, unfortunately, because there's potential for litigation on this particular issue, you can't really divulge too many details. I'm going to divulge in my report where we're at with the progress with it, but that's about, unfortunately, what our borough attorney is advising us not to say anything until we get the actual, we decide whether or not we're going to pursue litigation on this.
All right, so
If
then,
you wouldn't mind, after you can speak after this report in the regular meeting, if you wouldn't mind to come back to the microphone.
okay, and do we have any idea on when this is going to be open?
So, yeah, that's in my report, a general timeline of when we will be able to divulge more specifics.
Could you give us like a preview? What we're talking about 30
Yeah,
days,
like
90
within
days?
the next month.
Within the next month?
No.
Oh,
It's not gonna be open.
Oh, not
He asked
open.
when it's gonna be open.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. That will not be entirely clear because we have to go out for bid to actually get the contractor to fix the actual rec center. So that process is happening within the next month. That I can guarantee. That's the only thing I know for certain at this point.
Okay, and forgive me, how long has it been closed now?
3 months.
3 months, and we really don't have any idea when it's gonna be open.
Oh, no, we do. We have to go out bid, you know the process.
Okay.
Then bid the job, award it, fix it, and then.
All right, so does anyone have any idea about when that's gonna be,
I
roughly?
don't think anybody wants to guess, to be honest.
But
Should there be
the
some
promise
word
not
be
to
about
supposed to be through it by the end of the year.
Okay, so we're talking about somewhere anyway at the end of the year.
And we want to make sure it's done.
Hopefully. As long as no problems and nothing crazy happens. And everything smooth sailing,
Okay.
which never happens, you know.
One other thing, I read an editorial by Council President Tedisco. I was kind of confused, Mayor.
Okay.
Stating that there's going to be additional revenue, tax revenue coming into the town from the new project that we have. Is it the council's or your position, Mayor, that this will give us additional revenue? Because that's what it says in that
Well, first of all,
editorial.
we have to see what the revenue is. And hopefully it is an additional revenue in the long run.
It did, so
I'm assuming it is at this point. I'm not sure.
And does the council president agree with that?
I do, based on the numbers we've been given by our financial advisor, we are looking to get more revenue from that property than we do currently. And we did have a time when property taxes were actually not paid on that property. But that's since been taken care of by Russo.
Okay, so this is then going to increase the amount of tax revenue coming into the town?
Yes.
Okay, because I happen to know that that's not true. Okay, when you reassess property, what you do is you reallocate. If you recall, I was actually at a seminar with the mayor and with you, Councilwoman Tedisco, that new ratables, what they do is reallocate revenue. They do not bring additional revenue into the town. So that is in fact a misstatement of what's going to go on. And I think either we have two very unpalatable things that may be going on here. Either a misperception by yourself or a misrepresentation. And either one is quite troubling. There will be no additional revenue into Garwood coming from this project. As a matter of fact, if you recall, the way we do the budget is we come up with what we're going to spend, and then we go ahead and assess taxes from people. We do not go ahead and take a look at the revenue we have and then spend it. And I know Councilman Sarno can actually back me up on that. That's where the assessment comes from. So you need to be careful or stop any further misrepresentation. There will be no additional revenue coming into the town from this project. Rather, it will be a reallocation of the taxes that are already here. Mayor, I suggest that you really need to do something about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's what I said all
It's-
along.
well, It sounds to me, it's like talking fund balance and surplus. People use the term surplus over and over again, even professionals do, like our town auditor, and it's really fund balance, but when it comes to this, the term new revenue has been used time and time again as far as this goes, that more taxes will be generated on this property than currently do. And yes, it's a reallocation, but essentially it's a net benefit to Garwood, and that's where I'll leave that.
Anyone else? Mr. Patterson?
Good evening, Mayor Lombardo, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Bruce Patterson, 325 Loud.
Good
And
evening.
Mr. Matthew had it, and that was an interesting concept to mull over, to think about that, like I said. But just a couple items. I'm just wondering about our engineering firm, our borough engineer.
He's still, Guriel and Deck is still our engineering firm. And what's your question?
Well, where is he tonight?
Oh, he's not our borough engineer anymore. He's retired.
No, I'm not talking about Don, I'm saying Burrell and Deck.
Oh, they don't come to council meetings in a professional services contract. He comes as borough engineer. He's not the borough engineer anymore. We don't have one, it's vacant.
All right. Oh, okay, but we still are
But
gonna
they
go
hold a
out.
professional services contract. There's two different things you're talking about.
But I'm just wondering who's representing the borough engineer here?
Nobody, me, I don't know. No, we don't have an engineer right now. We don't have a borough engineer right now.
All right, but you will be going out for,
We have.
We go out, we do an RFP every year for professional services. This is an employee, not a professional service.
you're waiting to the end of the year?
No, we're looking, we're advertising for an engineer.
Yes.
The engineer's an employee,
Okay, you're moving forward, doing something?
yes.
We have.
Just have
been doing
just
something.
stuff.
It was
We
just,
have.
okay, kind of go around. But, yeah, as to Councilman Petrozelli's suggestion, one thing is maybe just paving that lot where the trucks sit. Also, maybe swap it with, is that Raganese at the end there?
That's correct.
Yeah, maybe do some kind of swap with him. He was actually at the planning board one time, he was going to do something with an application, I don't recall what it was, but it was tabled up front, but, yeah, maybe you swap with Raganese somehow. There's a, who noted that? I guess the Councilwoman Tedesco mentioned about a letter dated June 7th, if we could just have an overview of what that letter was, that some of the joint committee discussed. And I guess corollary with that, a very questionable, it sounds like it was an out of order procedure, but the fencing ordinance should come out of one of the council committees, but it seems like it was in some other committee of the joint board and council, and they're the ones that put the kibosh on it. That doesn't sound right. It actually should be coming out of committee to the council itself, and they, of course, vote on it and goes to the planning board. So something didn't make sense there. Something was out of procedure. I guess, for whatever this committee is, well, you know me, I'm talking about where we're starting to lose focus here and lose proper governance.
Let me just clarify, the ordinance is on the table right now, just like this piece of paper sitting here.
Okay.
And any one of them can move it off the table for vote. It doesn't have to go to any committee or anything like that, sitting right here.
It comes out of committee.
During the part of the agenda where we get the ordinances, one of them can move it off the table, should they so be so inclined to do that for a final vote. But what Joe was mentioning is that his committee, that committee, with the planning board went over the memo, and if he's telling you tonight that if that committee doesn't want to move it off the table, but that doesn't prevent any one of you from taking a different action. He's not stopping you from your right to move it off the table. So that's where the ordinance is now.
All right,
Just like this paper sitting there.
So from the
Take
committee
your-
came an opinion. It was just an opinion.
Okay, so maybe you should have said it was your opinion, but
That's a fair-
that's what he meant.
Yeah.
The mayor tasked us, this joint committee, to assess this fence ordinance and what we should do with it. That happened from last meeting, he said, I'm going to ask the joint committee to look at it, which we did. And we decided you know, that the recommendation would be that we don't move forward. That was the recommendation.
Which actually brings up, what is the mission statement of this committee? I mean, are they just there to be a catch-all?
No, it's
Because
just
somehow
so-
if you're forming a committee, I mean, we must know what it is. A fence ordinance, that took me by surprise, that, you know.
Well, that was one of the issues, as Councilman said, it was brought up with the planning board, and in my opinion, instead of going back and forth to both committees, I established the committee to have an open communications on all items, in particular development and redevelopment. I thought that the task first should have been, look at this fence, given the fence ordinance being the first task.
And render opinion.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I mean,
Is that
I have not heard any word of
So-
opinion mentioned about all this, you know, but that's what it is.
Right. Right.
Recommendation.
Right, and just to add to that for clarification, that fence ordinance did start at the council level, went to the planning board, they gave feedback. We did take it back to the Laws and License Committee, so we did use a committee process here on the council, but it didn't come out of that committee with two votes supporting it to come out. So therefore, I had suggested to Councilwoman Cucurell to bring it up to the council and see if we could bounce another idea, which she had about maybe adjusting the setbacks to the planning board. And I believe that happened at the last meeting based on my review of the videotape. So it's been actually bounced around to a couple different areas in the past few months, including the council committee.
Yeah, but now it seems like it was overridden by this new committee.
It's not overridden.
No, no,
It's
it's
a
not.
viable ordinance sitting on the table. No,
It's another
no,
Recommendation,
no,
if you want to move that forward.
It's really dead, no, it's dead in the committee, it sounds like out of 3 people.
Not dead.
two-
It's a viable ordinance.
It was tabled. There's a difference. It wasn't dead.
It already came out of committee, it became an ordinance, it was introduced and set for adoption, the public hearing, it was tabled. So now it will stay on the table until December 31st. At that time, it just
That's where
expires.
it expires.
That's where it expires, yes.
So basically, if the 3 people figured they didn't want to move it forward, then there would be no hope of it passing on council.
You'd have to
Basically.
get it.
You still have the
So
right
let's
to-
take a
That's your
motion.
comment.
I'd like to second.
You still have the right to move it off the table.
One at a time.
You still can move it off the table for vote. You still have that.
Someone will have to second. Right, we go forward.
All right, it's just this committee, this joint committee, somehow in the laws or ordinance or statutes or whatever, bylaws, it sounds like this committee is really an ersatz committee that exists. Somehow we're starting to listen to it. We probably shouldn't, but anyway, but that's my opinion.
Okay.
Or my
Thank you.
recommendation.
What
last-
you have any finals?
Yeah, one last item. I did write a letter. I see it's on the agenda. I mean, I talked about the council and I talked about the planning board. I'll talk about the council, you know, when the letter's introduced by agenda. But the planning board, I went to the planning board last planning board meeting, and I mean, I couldn't believe what I heard. I asked if professionals actually, and you were sitting, Joe, and I asked, do professionals see the drawings upstream? The answer from the planning board was no, and that's what's
A couple of
stunning.
days to be clarified correctly. He said a couple of days he sees them before.
No. I clarified that up front, saying, yes, the planning board attorney and the planning board members see that a couple of days ahead of time. But then, of course, there's another professional, Vic Vinegra. And I asked a question to the planning board, the attorney actually answered, but when I summed it up into whether the professionals see the drawings upstream, I heard the answer no. Now, I'm beside myself on that because either they lied or they're clueless. And either way is something very dangerous to the integrity of the planning board and to the integrity of Garwood itself. And we're facing large, and I said that in the letter, we're facing large projects. And with people that are clueless or lying or have their own personal agendas, we're looking at a dangerous situation. And of course, I sat at the mayor's Saturday, and it's interesting that Joe Sarno's going to be with you again because I'm going to probably show up and I'm going to talk about it again. And you know, things like term limits maybe should be imposed. Maybe you should be asking, you know, people are losing focus here on the planning board. Maybe you should be asking them to step down and allow other people to move into their positions. Or as Joe Sarno had recommended about a year ago, part appointed, part elected, which, you know, I don't know if that's legal or not, but that makes actually reasonable sense also. So that's, you know, that's something that you really should consider moving forward, because Garwood's in a interesting inflection point. And as you know, my letters I've been writing, something's being lost here in governance. Somehow, something is being lost, so I'll talk further on what the council did.
I'd just like to respond very quickly to your.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, basically, as you know, and you sitting there, I think the applicant was unprepared, I don't think it was her fault. Second of all, basically that those documents had to be redone, and also too, there's a bunch of variances if she left the plans as is. You know, a lot more variances than she indicated, so.
But that's irrelevant, actually, to the point, where I asked the board, and they responded no, and clearly by the ordinances, you know, our land use ordinance, the answer is yes. This is what's amazing, this is what I'm encountering. Something's strange, everybody's scrambling, nobody's focused. Critical thinking, I've mentioned many times, that somehow it's being lost. And yes, it's my comment, anybody can defend whatever they want to do, but I'll talk further about the council, because I did write to that letter, so thank you very much.
I was there as well, and let me tell you, I mean, Donald Frazier went out of his way to go and talk to them afterward. I mean, in most towns, that particular application would have never been heard, it would have been just flat out no.
But that's irrelevant.
You know, and I watched what had happened, and I saw the professionalism that went on, and knowing that it happened in my own family, okay, where an application just got enough. They didn't get a case before the planning board. They didn't get a chance to even have a variance or anything like that. And the fact that we would do that as a small town is in that particular instance, was it was pretty impressive, honestly.
It's like I'm watching this, and it's exactly what I'm saying.
It's not a back and forth, but I'd just like to say one thing, that, and she didn't even get a new date for her application possibility, so we'll leave it at that. Anyone else? Like to come to the microphone? Hearing none? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Should we move on, council?
Yes.
Sure, man.
All rise for a moment of silence to salute the flag, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice of the meeting was provided to the Westfield Leader, advertised on January 5th, 2017. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger. The following posted on the municipal public bulletin board, following the office of the municipal clerk, according to the public time. Place according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, Chapter 231 PDL, 1975. Roll call, Ms. Ariana.
Mayor Lombardo.
Here.
Councilwoman Blumenstock. Here. Councilman Kukrow.
Here.
Councilman Lazaro.
Here.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Here.
Councilman Sarno.
Here.
And Council President Disco.
Here.
Ms. Ariana, minutes, please.
Regular and workshop minutes of the mayor and council held on July 25th, 2017.
Do you have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Alrighty. Communications, Ms. Ariana.
New Jersey State League of Municipalities Mayor's Advisory.
Receive and file.
Union County Board of Chosen Freeholders Ordinances.
Receive and file.
Borough Roselle Park Resolution.
Receive and file.
Township of Cranford Ordinance.
Receive and file.
Maury Valley Sewage Authority Minutes.
Receive and file.
Bruce Patterson, Willow Avenue, pilot ordinance. Bruce, this is your last letter from last time.
Oh, okay.
And the same thing's gonna happen because we received it after the agenda was done. Our planning board, minutes.
Receive and file. We have no witnesses this evening. Council's standing committee reports and other reports. Police, Councilman Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. This week marks the second annual Garwood Police Appreciation Week. We have received visits from many residents to the department and are truly grateful for their support. If you have not done so already, please stop by. We'd love to meet you. Well, hurricane season began in June. August marks the beginning of peak season. To learn more about hurricane preparedness, including checklists and action plans, please visit weather.gov. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Public Health, Councilwoman Kukrow.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Streets, Roads, and Ecology, Councilman Blumenstock.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Fire, Councilman Sarno?
Thank you, Mayor. We had 20 instances last month of July, 10 during the day, 10 at night, 7 alarm activations, 4 CO alarms, 2 fires at senior housing. We actually have a small one, electrical fire, and a couple others as well. We had mutual aid over to Broadway, Westfield, and Elizabeth. Total man hours, 127 hours. We had a fire drill as well, 15 men, 2 juniors for 45 hours. At the Pathmark property, pump and hose evolutions using yard hydrants on the property from E3 and E5. Use multiple 1 3/4 pre-connected hose lays, 4-inch feeder lines, and review of those bed repacking procedures. I actually saw them do that drill. In any event, extra duty, hose test, 4 men, 1 junior, 20 hours. Pump driver training, 5 men, 10 hours. And can trailer for the Girl Scouts, 1 man, 2 hours. That's all in my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Finance, Council President Tedesco.
No report, Mayor, but as I mentioned earlier, we are meeting tomorrow night.
Is that just his report? Oh.
Buildings and Grounds, Councilman Lazaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Just the update on the rec center. So Mr. Renaud, our borough attorney, will be preparing the legal section of the specifications, and Falcon Group, which is the company we hired to look at the actual project, they're doing the specifications on the technical part. Ms. Ariema is expected to have the specifications by next week or at the latest the following week. Upon receipt of the specifications, Ms. Ariema will publish the notice to bidders to get a contractor to make the appropriate corrections to the rec center. We hope to vote to approve a contractor by no later than our first meeting in September. And that's all from my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Laws and License, Councilman Kukrow.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Recreation, Councilman Petrozelli.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Garwood Senior Liaison, Councilwoman Blumenstock.
Thank you, Mayor. At our last meeting on August 3rd, we were joined by an employee of the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs. She gave an interesting and informative talk about phone scams. Obviously an important topic, as the scams are very often targeted seniors. She advised our groups to be aware of scams that ask you to wire any money or ask for any personal information such as social security numbers or bank account numbers. And there are often scams where people purporting to be the IRS claim that you owe money and the police will be called if you don't pay right at this moment. She said to remember that any agency such as the bank or the IRS will send you a letter in the mail first and will not use a phone call or make threats. Though there is really no way to stop any of these calls, the best thing to do is just not answer the phone if you don't know the number. There is also a way to try and limit robocalls. The AARP offers a service for free for your landlines, and you can go to nomorobo.com to sign up. That's nomorobo.com. On another note, the seniors will be planning a trip to the Fiesta de San Janeiro in Staten Island, and this trip is open to residents of all ages and will include an open bar, a full menu, and a show. The trip is September 12th from 11:30 to 3:30 and is $55 for Garwood residents, $60 for out-of-towners. And I'd be happy to give anybody more information to anyone interested in the trip. That's all from my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Library's Mayor Representative, Councilman Lazaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Friday was the last day to log in for summer reading program, and today the library had their summer reading ice cream party. 28 children participated and read over 500 hours this summer. All participants received prizes and certificates. 6th grader Abigail Henkel was the first place winner. She received 4 tickets to the Liberty Science Center. 2nd place winner Lauren Raftree received a $30 gift card. The 3rd place winner, 3rd grader Kurt Kilmer, received a $20 gift card. On August 16th at 6:30, the library will hold an elder care workshop presented by Benjamin Ekman, Esquire, covering various aspects of estate planning. The library will be closed on Saturdays for the rest of August. Saturday hours will begin again on Saturday, September 16th. And that's all for my report.
Thank you, Councilman. School Board Liaison, Councilman Sarno.
No report. The meeting is a week from tonight.
Thank you. Celebrations, public events, and holidays, Council President Tedesco.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. I'm excited to announce that the annual Borough Movie Under the Stars, sponsored by the Greater Westfield Area Chamber of Commerce and Spencer Savings Bank, will be held on September 8th at dusk with a rain date of September 17th. This year's movie night will be held at the Y at Washington School, and Sing has been the chosen movie. Please mark your calendars for a fun night out for the whole family. And banners will be put up in a couple spots in town shortly, as they have in past years, to remind everyone. So that's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Union County Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board Representative, Councilman Blumenstock.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Administrative Review Committee, Councilman Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. The committee has been working very diligently and unanimously together to advance the promotional policies for sergeant, lieutenant, and captain that we described at the last council meeting. The labor attorney has been working on drafting the ordinances for the next council meeting to review and for introduction. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Historical Committee, Council President Tedesco.
No report, Mayor.
Parking Committee, Councilman Sino.
No official report, but I do expect to see the special parking enforcement officer ordinance up for introduction next.
Thank you, Council. Officers report, Ms. Ariano.
CFO Tax Collector Treasurer Sandy Bryan, second quarter report for 2017. Zoning Code Enforcement Officer Lynn DeStefano, monthly report for July 2017.
Do you have a motion to accept the reports?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone, state your full name and address. Please leave your comments in 3 minutes. The microphone's over here, Mr. Pettis.
Let's start yelling, just yell it. Well, good evening, Mayor Lombardo, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir?
Council, Bruce Patterson, 325, Will Avenue, and of course, this recent letter that I wrote about has to do with the July 11th council meeting that we had at the school. And on the screen, there were numbers and everything. And then, I guess later on, I guess the last council meeting, that's when Councilman Lazaro talked about the scope change, and a lot of the numbers were, I'll read it. It says, the scope, this is word for word, the scope of the actual project changed. A lot of the members, we as the council, were presenting at the meeting were based on old information, in which things were changed as we negotiated the deal. Went on to say, this affordable housing legislation is breathing down our backs, and it's a real thing. I mean, you know, I can't argue what he's saying, but the principle of it is that you provided numbers to the public and you voted on these numbers, and it sure sounds like they were knowingly false numbers and you willingly voted on it. And I mentioned it here, and it was under duress, you know, from this legislation that's breathing down your back. So I mean, you know, as you're trying to get the best deal possible, it sure seems like you're not getting the best deal possible, that you actually, I guess, voted illegally on wrong numbers. You know, I wish Mr. Renaud was here, but I would assume, you know, if you want to confer with your borough attorney, I mean, something definitely was wrong here, and this pilot should be rescinded if it was wrong numbers. Many of the numbers I know are based on conjecture, I will grant you that, but the numbers that you presented and voted on were obviously false, and that's really strange, and that's why I wrote my letter.
Is it, okay, I just want to respond
Yeah, go
to
ahead.
specifically your claim. So when I said the scope of the project change, I'm talking about the whole process, you know, so, you know, I'm not talking about, I wasn't talking about the July 11th numbers that they've changed since then when we voted from it. I'm talking about that, obviously, when we originally started, there was a certain number of units, and then the number of units changed. Also then eventually the number of parking places changed, so that obviously changed certain costs. And then obviously our financial planner came in with different numbers based on that changes in the actual number of square footage of the parking lot and then the amount of square footage for the retail space. So I'm not talking about July 11th on, I'm talking about over the course of the process that, you know, we had to make decisions based on as the process, as the actual, you know, scope of the project changed, or the details of the project
It
changed.
was like
So I
a moving
apologize
part. You're saying
if I
it's-
misunderstood, if I miscommunicated. I by no means was the project or the numbers different from what we voted on that.
On the screen, what you showed the public.
Correct. So I apologize if that was, you know, miscommunicating, or maybe you misunderstand what I was trying to say. That was not my intention. We definitely voted on those numbers on the screen.
I know you voted on the numbers on the screen, the one, that's what I'm saying is, were they truly representative of what we were supposed to be voting on? In other words, it's a decrease to 298.
That's what I'm telling you, yes. They were.
Okay, well, no, I'm kind of summarizing it only because, you kind of, we're talking convoluted, so. But okay, I mean, if that's the case, then I am satisfied. I guess I'll have to take a look at those numbers again. Just trust but verify, as they say.
We'll see you Saturday.
All right. But in the meantime, back to the planning board, the answer was yes, they said no. Some of this was irrelevant what you were saying. The planning board is out of focus, and I really got to talk to you further about it. Something really needs to be done. Definitely. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to the microphone? Seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished business, consent agenda. Well, motion to accept the consent agenda as presented this evening.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Councilwoman Blumenstock. Aye. Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Lazaro.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
And Council President Fisher.
Aye.
See, we have no new business. Payment of claims, Ms. Ariano.
Be resolved, the following claims as approved be and same are hereby ordered paid when properly signed and verified, and the payment of payroll is as listed hereby confirmed and ratified.
Do I have a motion to pay the claims?
So moved.
Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Councilwoman Blumenstock. Aye. Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Lazaro.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
And Council President Tedesco.
Aye.
We'll move on to adjournment. The regular meeting of the Mayor and Council will be held on Tuesday, August 22nd, 2017, in Council Chambers at 7:15. Workshop will start at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and good night.
Before everybody leaves. It's 2286.